now beaming into NerdFT Radio.
This is NerdFT Radio, where nerds full-time, explorers of the metaverse, surfers of the blockchain, and not in our mom's basement. I'm your host, RSG, aka the guy that apparently looks like a high schooler, and I'm here with Crypto Crier, aka the no one Maxi. Am I getting that right?
The nun
Maxi. We're going with none. Hey, listen, I'm not the
12-year-old
one in the
can't get his
shit
lines
coins.
right. Jesus Christ.
12 and a half, but that's besides the point. We're not here for you. We're not here for me. We're here for our very special guest, a recurring guest to the show as well. We have the co-founder of the Parallel team, Mr. Gone. How are you?
I'm good. Thanks for having me on again. I'm happy to be here.
Yeah, super fun. Last time was great. So a little catch up. We had the team, Mr. Gone, and the other member, Kalos, Temple Crash, about 5 months ago. That was mid-alpha release. I was able to try that out. It was super fun. We had a great time just discussing all the nerdy shit that goes along with trading card games. And then we ended up with a lot of Marvel chatter because you guys are big Marvel dudes. But yeah, so far we are back and we have the beta release. And it's going really well. We've got a lot of really positive feedback from everybody on the timeline. Looks like I've had a great time with it. I played about 30, 40 games so far. Great gameplay. I was very impressed. I wasn't able to play a ton with the alpha, and I was, it's okay. And yeah, there's definitely the strategy behind it is super fun. You can definitely tell that it has very good competitive legs. It's going to be a good competitive game in the future, I think. So yeah, glad to have you back, man.
Yeah, I really appreciate that. I really appreciate all the kind words. Since we talked last time, it feels like a lifetime. We've been toiling away at the game and trying to get it polished up. There's still a lot of work that we want to do. It's still in closed beta. It's not quite, I feel like I'll never say that it's right, but I'm really happy with how far we've come and the fact that people are able to play it and everyone seems to be really liking it. Yeah, I'm just slightly though, more relieved than I was the last time we spoke.
Still on edge as last time, but yeah, I can definitely even tell. So it's been 5 months. I played the alpha and the beta so far. I can definitely tell the differences between the two. You felt more clunky or wasn't as smooth. A lot of the stuff so far is really smooth. I would say the only thing that I would say was one thing I would like to see on the UI side is when you click and attack somebody and that does the animation for the attack, being able to drag to attack the other, you know what I'm saying? The other, what you want on the board, you want to attack the main person or the units on the board.
Yeah.
Cue that system. That would be the biggest upgrade, keep it a little bit more streamlined. But other than that, everything else has been super fun. So,
yeah. There's a bunch of UX stuff that we want to overhaul for sure. But
yeah,
for me, the most surprising bit is just how, from a numbers perspective, people's perception can be crazy, but from a numbers perspective, how balanced the game actually is. Yeah, the win rates are in the pocket where we want them to be. Everyone's kind of, all the parallels are, a balanced game isn't necessarily everything evenly matched, but everything being relatively close and there being different skill cap
for sure,
paragons and stuff. And yeah, I don't think I'm ever like super happy for whatever reason, but I'm relieved, certainly.
Yeah, I definitely get that sense too. So if anyone hasn't been able to experience it very much yet, I know RC hasn't been able to try it out really much yet, but I'd love to get him to go try it out. I think he'd like it. But the idea behind each deck has your main paragon, which is like the leader or the lieutenant of the card game, where they're the most powerful, they have extra abilities, everything is synergized with that person, and each of these 5 different classes has a different paragon, and each of them have up to three different ones, I believe, right? Is that?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, right. So each parallel has 3 paragons that are like the generals of your army, and at least should help inform the deck that you're building and how you play it.
Yeah, for sure. But I got a really good sense of balance. The only one that I am not good with is Earth. I'm not a big defensive player usually.
Right.
I love Shroud. I'm a big control guy on that side. I love that side. So yeah, if anyone is interested in the trading card games, I definitely recommend checking it out. We got some questions from a couple people listeners one guy is actually making a game. And he loved the first podcast, and he wanted to get a couple of questions in He said, "What do you think the best long-term strategy to keep a game growing? The balance of gameplay and collecting and making those things live in harmony, or is there a variable that will make the game last, like IP and story?" So, what are your thoughts on that?
Oh, that's a great question. I think it depends on a number of factors. With a card game, IP and story is good, but I think it's more of an entry point because generally speaking, it's a lot harder to tell coherent story in a card game. Really, you're just seeing windows into the world, and you can't really control the order in which people view those windows. Story kind of is just a framework, and then after that takes a bit of a back seat to new mechanics, interesting interactions. I think that the reason we see a certain model with all of the most successful card games is because the new content a few times a year that sort of mixes up the meta is what people are looking for. For me, I can only speak for myself, really, but I view card games almost like a logic puzzle. And at a point, you think that people maybe have not solved the puzzle, but have at least come close. But if you give them a bunch of new pieces every once in a while, then they have to rework the logic, right? Like the stack completely changes, and you're like, okay, let me see how these things fit into the mix. And I think that's the mindset that you want from a given player. But if you're talking about, say, RPG is a no-brainer, but if you're talking about even just a shooter or another type of game, third-person adventure or whatever, story obviously plays a lot larger of a factor in those types of games. Like, you see expansions in things like World of Warcraft being as much lore based as they are mechanics based, and so it really just depends. But from a card game perspective, I think that you need to keep introducing new cards in order to keep it fresh.
I'd probably say, Crier, on my end, I actually 100% agree with that, because I've seen, obviously, I come from the sense of first-person shooter, sports, video games, the RuneScape side of things, not heavily, like, not as much as you guys, I would say, on the trading card aspect of it. Obviously, growing up, Yu-Gi-Oh, Pokemon, had the whole nine, playing Marvel Snap right now. I actually, since the last podcast, I finally got sucked into buying Pokemon cards and actually battling, which that's another story we can do for another day. But I really liked what you said there, where I see all these other trading card games, let's say Marvel ones, like actual ones, Marvel or HRO or even One Piece, and like all these other like IPs and brands that I absolutely love and care for so much. But exactly what you said is actually happening to those, because they're not as popular as those Pokemon ones. They're not as popular as the Yu-Gi-Oh. They're not as popular as Magic, because of the fact that the IP can only push it so far. And you're absolutely right. If you're not introducing something new, if you're not doing something out of the ordinary, as well as just, again, giving people a good gameplay, the IP could be unbelievable, but really they're not gonna stick for that part of
back.
it. They're gonna if they want to stick to the IP and everything else, they'll go to the figures, they'll go to the amusement park, they'll go to the art that they can buy on the wall, etc. So it's just, I definitely agree with that, and I really like that answer.
For sure. I think the idea there where you're saying it really, Matt, you want give them the new puzzle pieces. So we're already in the beta right now, not even a fully released. We already have talks of first expansion release. Would you love to hear some more details on that, if you could share, and what you see as either the upgrade mechanic or what kind of thing is going to be focused on in this next expansion?
That's okay. Yeah, I can probably give away a little bit, maybe not too much.
Alpha,
but yeah, that's right. Yeah, we are currently working on actually the cards in their initial form. They still need to be play tested pretty heavily, but in their initial form are done for the expansion called Planetfall. And basically, we'll start with the lore, but the story is, this is now when all of the different parallels have come to Earth and decided that is their battlefield. The initial game is an introduction to them all, and maybe them all meeting for the first time, and small skirmishes here and there. But Planetfall will be the first sort of full-scale war. And so what we've done is created a number of new cards for each parallel and added a few new mechanics for each parallel, and tried to make it feel big and full-scale war. One of the things that I'll talk about, I don't want to give away too much of it because people are still getting into the main game, but one of the things that we're toying with is split cards. They are both units and effects, and when you play them, you can decide which side of the card you want to play. And that's just one of the things that we're toying with. There's a myriad of other stuff. Another thing that I should also mention that I'm not sure is if any other card games do this, but we plan on introducing at the end of each season's battle pass, we plan on introducing a new card for the end of that season that lives in a middle ground. I guess it'll initially be part of what is now being called the base set, but it is something that we will be designing to shake up the current meta so that you don't have to wait for an expansion for a new card to come and be like, if we notice that certain type of play is dominating, we may create a battle pass card for the end of the month that sort of helps circumvent that style of play.
I like,
or not even negates it, but makes people think twice about certain things. So it is going to be, it is going to be interesting. Now, mind you, the first few seasons cards have already been designed without seeing how the meta is going to shake out. We have some assumptions based on playtesting, but once games get in the hands of players, you never know what's going to happen. You watch those videos of people playing the new Zelda game, and they're on a plank with an apple, and somehow they're floating across the map. It's just like insane. Who knows?
Listen, I feel so stupid going on Instagram or like my friends sending me TikToks of anything to do with Zelda, because I'm just sitting there doing the most basic shit ever, and these people are building the most
helicopters
insane things
and shit
I've ever seen, and I'm like, I don't want to play this anymore. I'm just gonna go back to Marvel Snap, maybe throw a little bit of RuneScape, just watch some TV, because I'm getting outplayed by literal freaking people half my age, as well as people I've been doing this forever. So that was good. That was 6.5, but that was really good. Actually, 6 1/4. But yes, that was pretty good. Good joke.
Got him.
You got me. But yes, 6-year-olds, literally, probably.
No, it's such a great idea that game designers build a game. They're going to be like, oh, this is probably going to be the top card. And then that's nothing even close to what actually happens, because people think of the craziest shit. But since you've seen all the gameplay and just what's been dominating the space, do you have any feedback on what you thought would play out as a lot different than what's actually playing out right now? Or is it still early for that, you think?
I didn't have any preconceived notions. I think, to me, the most interesting thing is what are very early, like gray box playtesters and then alpha playtesters, the assumptions that they made based on what they had seen.
Yeah.
It's just, oh, this deck is strong, this deck is weak, this is what's OP, this is what isn't. And then they get back in, and now that the sort of net has been cast a little bit wider, people are finding things that the initial testers didn't find, and it's just, oh, wait, maybe that isn't so strong as we thought, or maybe this thing that we assumed was weak, somebody figured out a loophole here, and now it's, oh wow, it's like insanely strong. And that, okay, so like you mentioned the earthen, right? A lot of people are like, oh, I don't know about the earthen, but I probably shouldn't even talk about it because I don't really want people to mess with it, but who cares? There's a card called Dauntless Axeman that has a mechanic called Attuned, and basically what happens is every other turn it comes alive and then goes to sleep, and comes alive and goes to sleep. But when that happens, it switches between having pacifist and not having pacifist. And there's a paragon named Gafar that whenever a unit gets pacifist, buffs all of the units +1.
Oh shit.
And so some people have figured out, okay, every time this card goes to sleep, basically it like gets pacifist, and thus is buffing my whole board,
whole deck,
and itself. So as long as it stays alive, it can flip back and forward every other turn. All my units are getting +1 stacked onto it, and it's like insane. But like a few people have started to notice, and no one before was like, let me see what happens if I do this.
Yeah, that's a great point. And again, I see that from the defender. That's the whole point of their thing, is like defense strong. Like they stand back and play it really pretty calm. And if you're not, they're all high body, high health minions. Now you're getting pumped up minions that are like 12, 13 health. And then you get I can definitely see that being a good one. So I'll try that one out. That's a good idea. Since that's my last one. I haven't finished on the rookie cards or whatever, the free ones.
Oh yeah, nice. Yeah. To me, that's like the magic of this whole thing is just seeing what people have done with the creation, because I learned pretty early on that not to have any real expectations about what I think the game should be like, because people smashed through that immediately. As soon as it was in the hands of our gray box, like the earliest versions where only people at the company were playing, immediately the stuff I thought was like out the window. And I realized, okay, so don't even think about that. Just do your best to balance and design the cards and let people run wild.
Go nuts.
Yeah.
And I think that's one of the things that I like about it. We've talked about Marvel Snap. I play Marvel Snap every once in a while. I get really bored with it. I feel like it's a couple decks get to be used, and then once they have a new card, then that new deck is the dominating deck.
To that. Yeah.
Everyone goes and plays that deck. So you're just constantly playing that deck over and over against everybody. And I'm like, all right, great. Whereas this one, you can definitely see that there's just a ton of possibilities for decks. And it's like the first basic set comparatively to seeing like basic sets of, I don't know, something like Pokemon or a basic set of like Magic. I didn't play that early, but just like a one set of Magic. You can definitely feel, or Hearthstone, you really get pigeonholed into following the meta because they want you to buy those things, right? They want you to buy the packs. They want you to get the stuff. Whereas I think your business model like dissuades that a little bit, right? Because you're free to play if you like it. If you want to play and participate, you're going to the competitive NFT digital collectible route. And I think that kind of lets you guys be a little bit more, I don't know, a little bit more free with your thoughts, or a little bit less more force on the money side. I feel like a little bit. What are your thoughts on that?
We definitely have alternative ways of making money that some of the more traditional games don't, thanks to the whole NFT side of things. So that's definitely works in our favor. I also think that we're in a place where we started differently than almost any other game out there. It was almost like a Kickstarter type scenario. And we've been doing things differently from that point on than most companies would do. In fact, we have some people who work for us from a more traditional gaming sphere, and I can tell that they're equal parts super excited and super frustrated because it's like not what they're used to. And I think that we always look at, especially when it comes to gameplay stuff, is this fun? And if the answer is yes, then that's what we want to do. And we worry about how do we, fit this in, make money, do whatever after that. Because I think we have the benefit of needing to grow. So we want to suck people in, but also just we've been doing it our way for so long and it's been working out in our favor that we're just like, well, just keep doing this until maybe there'll be a day where we get like majorly slapped on the wrist, or someone will come in and buy us out, and then it'll people will be like, I remember when they were cool or whatever. But for now, it's just we get to do what we want, and it's always been working for us. So let's just keep doing it.
I love that.
I will say, by the way, because you're throwing a lot of slander over to Marvel Snap Crier, that their new way of rewarding people and getting the new cards, it got a lot better, and you're able to actually, if you play a lot, you don't have to spend any money. You can get said brand new cards throughout the month. So that side, yes, but you're absolutely right. Obviously,
it's just for me, it's basic. It's good. Again, I like it, but it's just not. I just prefer a little bit more depth if I'm going to learn and spend time on a card game, because I don't have a ton of time to play card games. I'd rather it be something that I could spend a lot of time learning intricacies, making decks that are like weird and fun. Just like my Marvel Snap deck, no one uses that deck. It's still like a random ass ramp deck.
You still use the same one you started with. The thing is that
I use other ones too, but I like that one. Yeah, I just like that one because it's different, and it's just the ramp portion of it makes it too.
No, that makes sense. I will say, let me ask you a quick question, then we go back to why we're really here. Have you actually tried out the conquest side of things, where you place? You have to. It's 10
matches or whatever.
Yeah, exactly. All right,
I played that too. That was fun.
I'd like to try that. I'm feverishly searching my shelf for a book here, which I can't find. But I think first of all, I think Marvel Snap is genius. It's not my favorite type of game either, but I do think I played the shit out of it when it first came out, and I do think that it's genius. The book I'm looking for is The Art of Game Design, and one of the things that like is super important. It's by this guy named Jess Shell. If you're interested in game design, you have to read this book if you haven't. But one of the main things that he talks about in the beginning is not just designing for the user, but designing for the platform and the experience. So I think the reason why Marvel Snap is so genius is because it's designed for a phone. So it's designed to be able to be picked up and played very quickly, bus ride, toilet, whatever. It's just like where you play the game isn't necessarily a place where you're hyper focused or hyper whatever. And so it has to be a game that people can jump in and jump out of and can learn very quickly. And what they've done is like the equivalent of, I'm going to date myself as like a 90s kid or whatever, but it's the equivalent of a Backstreet Boys or a Britney Spears song. Like you hear the song once and you know all the words, right? You play Marvel Snap for 5 minutes. You're like, I understand this game. And it can get a little bit more complex, but it doesn't have to. And it's still fun. And so for that reason, it's like incredible. But like the way that we've designed our game and the way that some of these other card games are designed, it's not a thing that you're like, if you're not hyper focused on playing the game, you're going to lose. And so that has its benefits and its drawbacks. It means that you can be more complex. You can have all these layers. You can do the whole puzzle thing that we talked about earlier. But the drawback is when someone sits down to play the game, they have to actively decide, I'm going to play this game. It's like reading a book or something. Like you can't be doing 100 things at once. You can't like just play 5 minutes on a toilet or whatever. You literally have to sit there from beginning to end and like plan all of your stuff out. And so that scratches a certain itch for some people. But I think what Marvel Snap does is I fucking wish I could do it. I do have an idea for a mobile game though that is quick and easy like that I'd really like to do at some point if I ever get the opportunity.
No, 100% agree. Because literally, you can ask Crier. I'll be watching whatever show. I'll have my phone out. I will have my laptop out, and I'm like, guys, this is why I love this game because I can do so many things while still enjoying the game and like leveling up, doing really well. I will say that I go into the deck aspect of it and building super cool stuff and whatnot. I personally believe on that side, and I do enjoy it. But obviously, you look behind me, I'm a massive Marvel fan, so that's probably why for a regular person, maybe not as much. But I definitely agree. And on the sense of like when I'm watching shows right now, I'm in this whole One Piece mode and I'm trying to catch up as fast as possible. But the thing is, I'm not watching in sub, I'm watching in dub because of the fact that there's only 2 shows ever in my life that I've been able to put everything to the side and just watch. And it was Game of Thrones and it was Westworld. Everything else, I got my phone in my hand. And it's really funny. My girlfriend or my friends, they always say, hey, did you even pay attention? And I'll tell them everything that just happened while I was on my phone. And they'll be like, wait, when did that happen? I'm pretty good at doing that. But like Game of Thrones and Westworld, if I'm not paying attention, you get lost toast. Super quick. Yeah, I would get so lost. But again, on the Marvel Snap side, definitely agree. But Crier, if you want to throw it back, I know you had some other questions from some other people. Sure. If it was it on Twitter?
I just got another question because you were talking about making another game. And so another thing that we have been seeing you guys post is the Colony game. So if you want to give a little bit of rundown, if anyone hasn't heard of that, I think that'd be a great time to toss that in there too.
Sure. This kind of started out as a side project of our developers. They're really interested in AI, and there was a paper that came out a little while ago. Yeah, a joint paper between
talked about that. It was really cool. I think we were talking about the Stanford paper or whatever.
Yeah, and so for a thought exercise or whatever, our devs reverse engineered the whole scenario and started messing with it, and then we started thinking about, okay, is it possible to gamify this experience and what would that look like? And then from there, we started working on the idea of a parallel game. And so much of what we've seen from an AI sort of gamification standpoint is it either writes the stories for you or it's an NPC that you can interact with. So it's never-ending quests or that sort of thing. But we wanted to do something a little bit different. So basically the experience that we've designed up to this point, and mind you, this is like still very early sort of testing phases, but some people have been able to try it, is you can think of it like a couch co-op, except the second player is an AI, or think of it like, I don't know if you guys ever played, again, I'm dating myself. There's a game called Black and White, but Black and White meets The Sims. Essentially you are
Black and White. I love Black and White.
Yeah. Amazing. Yeah. So you're the super ego of your character. You have this AI character who is a member of a colony, and you're suggesting things like, maybe you should upgrade your mining equipment, or I think that you should go talk to Joe Schmo over there and see if you can barter with him for XYZ. And also your AI will come to you and say, I met Crier in the mess hall and he knocked my coffee off my tray. What should I do about it? And then
Smack the shit out of him.
you got to write
Sorry,
back,
sorry.
be like, oh yeah, go back there and slap him out or whatever. But but the AI is its own entity and won't necessarily listen to you. So part of the game is you building a relationship with this AI so that it will do the things that you think that it should, but it also learns if you advise it and things go poorly, it's going to be like, well, I don't know about this guy.
Sucks.
and so like part of it is building a relationship with the AI. And then part of it is trying to teach your AI how to win the game. And the first few iterations of the game have been Survivor-esque. So basically, it's been a week long. And at the end of the week, the AI vote one of the other AI as leader. So there's 12 of them. They all get together. And you're not part of the voting process as the player. The AIs themselves are the ones voting. But you're trying to advise in that week, you're trying to advise your AI as to what you think makes a good leader. As an example, and I should also mention that the game itself is governed by AI and has the ability to alter its own code. And what I mean by that is we're a mining colony, right? So some people were like, I'm going to work really hard, harvest a bunch of resources, and people see how useful I am. They're going to elect me leader. Other people were like, I'm going to put up campaign posters and socialize and whatever. That's going to make me a good leader. I completely took a ridiculous approach that the game was not ready for. And I was like, here's what we're going to do. We're going to go to the bar. There's a stage at the bar. We're going to go up on stage and we're going to do stand-up comedy. And we're going to make people laugh. And then we're going to teach people stand-up comedy, buy them drinks, and they're going to think you're the funniest, best guy, whatever. And when it comes time to vote, they're going to be like, that guy. And
that's the one. I agree. You got my vote.
Yeah, the AI that governs the whole game came up with all of these items that weren't in there before. So I had the stand-up microphone. I had my set. I was able to like hone it and train the AI. It even told me a joke. I was like, what's your favorite joke from your set? I didn't feed it any jokes or anything. I was like, what's your favorite joke from your set? And I was like, here, I got one for you. Why don't scientists trust atoms? Because they make up everything. And I was like, amazing. This guy
gets it. Nice dad jokes, baby.
Incredible.
That's how you get people to love you. Dad joke.
But the fact that it was able to do some of this stuff, it also tells you, it's able to tell it has preferences. It's not just you typing to it saying, like, this is what I want you to do. And then it goes and does that thing. It's got a bit of its own, we'll say, quote unquote, free. It's a very bizarre experience. In fact, I'll share one more story and then we can get off the top of the subject. But one of our other players kept poorly advising his AI and it wouldn't listen to him no matter what. And so then he kept telling it to do something over and over again to a point where it just stopped what it was doing and started walking away. And we were like, what's happening? And it went to the med bay and told the doctor that it was hearing voices in its head. And we were just like, this is incredible.
Over here.
Wait. Time out. This is where we're supposed to stop. Good Lord.
Gone far. Yeah. No, I love that idea. I think it's super
awesome.
cool.
That's
As soon as you said black and white and it clicked in my head, I just had a rush of black and white gameplay back to my. I fucking love that game. That was such a great game. I literally completely forgot about it. But yeah, you can definitely tell where you're the god. You get to make the choices, and they don't listen to you, which I think that's really cool.
Very interesting.
Yeah, I think you guys are definitely on the right path. Right, we've seen the gameplay on this. That sounds super interesting. I don't know if anyone else has seen it. If you're listening, they also have all of their cards are also like AR rigged. We've seen the Apple headset come out, or but we've seen the release of some footage of what they look like. Any topic or discussion on how that kind of is going to play into your model of growth in the future?
I can't say too much, and I got in trouble the last time we talked about it, but I will say that some of the people that work for us help build the headset for Apple.
Got it. You're in trouble.
Clip it. So I think we're ready should that get adoption.
Cool. Yeah. I love that idea. You getting a headset, RSU? You getting a headset over here?
I'm definitely getting one. I have to, right? Like
it's part of your business. It's for you got to write. That's a tax write-off right there for you.
It's a work expense. Like I have a bunch of weird nonsense.
Wait, can I do that as a work expense?
Yeah, we can do that.
No? Yeah, maybe.
It's a work
We'll see how
computer,
it
man.
goes. Yeah, it's work computer. All right, we'll see what we can do. No, that's super awesome, and it's definitely going to change the game. I truly believe, all of us believe that's that next step. And if we can finally get that AR VR aspect of it into what we love, these video games and these card games and anything, just overall video games, as well as overall like just work life and everything, it could definitely change the game of it all. So hopefully I'm just worried. I'm a little worried how the first one goes because looking back at all the technology and whatnot, if it's Xbox, if it's PlayStation, if it's a computer, if it's a PC, Mac, whatever, that first one's always a doo-doo one. So I don't want to spend the money right now, Cry. I don't think we should spend it right there. We should wait till the number 2 or 3. Let Mr. Gone try out the first one, then we're good.
Right.
Let him be the guinea pig here for us.
It's true. It's true. I have the first generation Oculus.
iPhone. Oh,
Oculus, and it was pretty
iPhone, you have a
good.
couple
It was pretty
grand on
good,
you.
but now there's an Oculus, like it's over here, you can't see it, but now there's an Oculus that you don't even need to hook up to a computer. You
Yeah.
can just strap it on your head and go, right? So I do agree that like early adopters, you get to play first and you get to experience first, and that allows you
If
to
you
build
make
first if you're that type of person.
Build, a lot of stuff,
Yeah.
absolutely.
But it also like unless you're willing to pay the money, you're going to get outpaced pretty quickly. I also had an iPhone 1 as well, which is
I did too. So cool, bro.
All right, here I have one more question on that side. So obviously now we look back and we see all the technology. If it's the first iPhone, the first Xbox, PlayStation, Switch, or Nintendo, etc. Should we be buying 2 and keeping one in the box?
Absolutely.
It makes sense, right? It literally just makes sense.
Well, without question, the answer is yes, because if you look at any, not even console, like
Perfect
any
condition.
piece of technology that has come out, there's stories of unopened iPhone 1s that are sold for insane amounts of money.
Tens of thousands of dollars. Correct.
But it's a long-term investment, right? You got to let that sit there for 20 plus years or whatever. But I will argue that I think that the NES, the PS1, those systems are like almost untouchable. So every once in a while, you do get some things that come out and they hit it out of the park.
Still hit out of the park for sure.
So
we're gonna bring it back to trading card games a little bit here. So I have another question for you. We have an upcoming game from Disney called Lorcana. Do you know about it?
Of course,
Of course. We have a question about that. We're watching Lorcana. How do you see them in pacing the TCG market? If something with a established IP already is going to dominate, or something where we have new, unique gameplay, like something like you guys have, or going to take the throne over time? What do you think?
I've learned, although they're getting slapped a little with all the Marvel stuff these days, I've learned not to bet against Disney. I don't think. I do think that Lorcana is going to make a splash. Whether or not it's like actually an amazing game is yet to be seen. But I think the one benefit that we're probably going to have, right, is it's going to bring in a ton of people into the genre, and then they're going to explore and see what else is out there.
Get deeper somewhere else.
Absolutely.
I'm a punk music aficionado, and one of my favorite punk bands of all time is this band called NoFX. And they have said in interviews, and they're not the only ones to say this, but the best thing to ever happen to them was Blink-182 getting huge. Right, because it's just like all these kids are like, okay, I guess I like punk.
I like this.
Like,
yeah.
What else is here? And like you think about, there's genres that you still like that you liked when you were a teenager, but some of the bands you think about liking, you're like, ooh, I can't believe I like that. But it's still part of that genre. But it was like your gateway into the thing. Now,
gateway drug.
I'm not suggesting that. What I'm suggesting is that could be Lorcana. I hope that it's fucking amazing. I want to play it and I want to love it and I want it to be great. But even if it isn't, I think it's going to bring in a bunch of people that wouldn't normally play TCG. So I'm all for existing IPs making games, as long as it doesn't feel lazy. That, to me, that's the biggest problem. I look at Lorcana and the art looks incredible. It looks like they've put some time into it. But if they were have just taken an existing TCG, slap their stuff on it, and it just been like, okay, here's a game, like that would have been, I think, terrible. But I think the fact that they're giving it a real effort means a lot for TCGs as a whole.
Great takeaway.
I will say earlier we talked about this as well, and the main thing here is if the game's fun, that's the main thing that you always say. If it's fun, we're golden. But even if the IP is great and all this and that, we've seen all these other ones, like even on the mobile gaming side of things. Like I'd look back at a bunch of the Marvel ones, if it's Strike Force, if it's Concept of Champion, if it's Future Fight. On the Star Wars side, same exact thing, very similar games and whatnot. At times when the games aren't just, they're not good, it doesn't matter the IP, it doesn't matter the brand. Like people just stop playing it and then they shut down the game a few years later. So hopefully on this end, if it's fun, like we're golden, we're game, it's gonna blow up. But if it's not, I really do think at least the traditional trading card like masters and gurus are gonna be like, yeah, let's just go back to what we were at. But 100% what you said, it's going to bring in a bunch of people that have probably never been in this genre. And if they can hopefully stick, even if the game's bad or not bad, but not as fun as they want to, or they just, hey, let me figure something else out as well. Yeah, give me something more, because I'm not getting bored, but it's getting repetitive. Also bored. I want to try something new, and then hopefully parallels in here, or Marvel Snap, or Pokemon, or whatever the case may be. It should be interesting, and it should be a lot of fun.
I think that if the game is fun, that especially in a genre like this is like the most important. The lore, the story, the art even can be complete dog shit, but if the game is fun, it's going to rise to the top. Now, and I'm not saying this, I'm going to use an example. I'm not saying that the lore or the art or whatever in this game is dog shit, but you look at it and it doesn't hold a candle to whatever Call of Duty or whatever you're going to play. But if you've ever played the game Slay the Spire, right, it's probably the original PC deck building roguelike, and it like pioneered this like subgenre that is now like all over the place.
Huge.
But the art is, and you can tell that it was an indie game.
Yeah, terrible. It's not very good.
Yeah, it's not for me. Let me put it that way. There's been a million clones, and there's been a million people who have tried to do this in different ways. Even Hearthstone has a version of this.
Yeah,
but like to this day, it's like a massively successful indie game because it was fun and it did something different. And I think that's all that really matters, right? If you can have a fun game that does something different and has great IP and lore and all that stuff attached to it, like it's going to be a massive success. So Lorcana, as long as they're not afraid to take chances, Lorcana could definitely be that game.
Break it out.
Crier, I feel like a bunch of the video games that we play, they're not the biggest or indie games and stuff like that, but they're so good, and you just see it completely blow up. It's the same thing on that end as well. If the gameplay is good, that's all we want.
Reminds me of Hades. You're talking about Hades, or like
I was literally thinking about Hades, but if only we had someone like Mr. Gone on the PFP NFT side that just thought, you know what, I want to make something fun. I want to make something that kids, adults, everyone want to play and they want it. But no, we don't have that. We have dog shit games over on this side. And I'm very happy to have you on our podcast and to have you guys building in a space of Web3, because the other side of the space is hot dog water. So
looking pretty abysmal, yeah.
Very happy.
I got to shout out a few other people. I don't know, because none of us really have like a final product out there, but I've been lucky enough to try Shrapnel a few times, their demo. If you haven't checked out Shrapnel, it's a FPS extraction game, really well built by an amazing team, really nice guys. I become friendly with another team, Metalcore, and what they're building looks very interesting to me as well. And the Wildcard guys seem...
Wildcard's really good.
Super nice. Their game is a lot of fun. I'm terrible at it. And Paul is one of the
I used to be. Then I smack Crier now.
Oof. Yeah, we actually had to hit Paul on with Finn. Well, maybe like a little bit right after you guys. Yeah. He's incredible. Such a great guy.
He's got stories for days too.
Yeah,
he built words with Friends.
Yeah,
which
and Age of Empires. I don't know if that's a way better game, by the way.
Oh, sure, but just the insane success of Words with Friends is Age of Empires.
Both,
an all-time.
Yeah, both. Yeah. But he's also coming in. We were talking about that, especially with him. He came into a game. Everyone's telling him, you're literally a psychopath. You have successful strategy games. Why are you making a phone game that's Scrabble? What are you doing? That's a terrible idea. And then one of the most successful companies, and now he's saying the same thing. Everyone in my field is, you're making NFT games now? What is wrong with you? That's a terrible idea. I do think he's going to be on the right side of this. Just absolutely. The previous two games.
I will echo, though, that there is a lot of dog shit projects out there.
I was literally about to say, listen, he said 3 of those. Guess what? The other 1,000, dog shit.
100,000.
Those 3, great. Others, get out of here.
Shout out to I can't attest to the game itself because I've danced around their playtesting. It just the timing doesn't work out with me. But there's Sinjin is working on this game called My Angry Yakuza Girlfriend. He's one of the funniest guys I've ever met, so I imagine his game is just like wildly entertaining.
That sounds funny. But yeah, I definitely agree. We're in that precipice of we've given these companies 2 years to build something. Most of the MVP, the minimum basic thing that they're giving out is pretty terrible. So shout out to you, doing a great job. Check out Parallel. And we got anything else, man? Got some nerd shit for us, RSG?
What do I got for us? No, just every time I go on X, by the way, didn't say Twitter there. Every time I go on X, I'm getting One Piece spoiled because one of the biggest episodes has come out and I literally just can't go on social media whatsoever. What else has happened? We do have Ahsoka coming out on the 23rd of August, if I'm not mistaken. Then we have the live action One Piece on the 31st of August. And if I'm not mistaken,
gonna be good, though?
Listen, Oda, which is the creator of One Piece, like he finally got, hey, you know what? You guys can do it. And he has his freaking hands all over it. And he said, listen, I would not allow this to happen if I know it's not going to be good. So with that statement, I'm going to give it a go. That's all I'll say. Obviously, when you look back at all the live action animes, they're every single one, like these NFT games outside of the 4 that we just named, are dog shit. Hopefully on this side, we get something good. I will say the first trailer, I was a little iffy. The second trailer, I'm actually pretty impressed. The most I was worried about was like the actual power of Luffy, like how it would look, and it looks pretty good. Mm-hmm. And then the other thing that's coming out, I think it's September 3rd, is the second season of the Groot, the little mini series of Groot. But that's pretty much all I got right now. Other than that, Marvel or Disney's like in shambles right now. The strikes are going, so we can't really talk about anything. I saw Oppenheimer, by the way. It was a great movie.
I thought it was amazing.
Here's the thing. And I'm going to say this with the most respect possible. It's not a movie theater movie. It's on the couch. I can talk to Crier or a friend and talk out what just happened or look on Google and figure it out. But I just can't do these documentaries listen, I can do a 3-hour Marvel movie. I can do a 3-hour DC movie. I can do a 3-hour action movie, but like a documentary like that for 3 hours in a movie theater, at times, I'm just looking at people's faces. Half the people were sleeping. Other people were just like looking at their phone. I was like, damn. And at the end, everyone was clapping. I'm like, half of you motherfuckers didn't even watch the movie. So it was just pretty funny to see it. But again, the movie was phenomenal. The cast was insane.
Cast was incredible.
The whole night, everything was great. And Robert Downey Jr., by the way, that was awesome. Like he crushed it. But outside of that, I will personally say that is the first and last time I'll see a documentary movie like that in the movie theater. I will wait for it to be on the couch where I can call Crier and be like, what the heck's going on? Or this is awesome. So that's the one thing I'll say.
What are your thoughts on it, Gon?
I thought it was great. I didn't know. It didn't feel long to me.
For me,
I have a weird thing. I love going to see movies in theaters, and the whole IMAX 70 mil experience was pretty crazy. And I just think like Nolan does something unlike anybody ever. Okay, without getting too movie nerd, I know this is not what we're here for, but
we're at the end. We're nerding. Come on.
It's a biopic where you don't really come away with any element of who Oppenheimer is, right? Like every other biopic you watch, you're just like, okay, here's what this person was like. Here's what this person was like. Here's what this person was like. Yeah. In this biopic, it's like Oppenheimer is the stand-in for the audience, and you have a sense of what every other character is. But he's still a mystery at the end, and I'm like, how's that possible? That's like crazy. But also, the movie's built in a way where it's not really about the bomb.
Oppenheimer. Yeah.
Like you think it's going to be about them building and setting off this nuclear bomb, but that's not really what it's about. It's like a stand-in for Christopher Nolan himself. It's just, okay, I'm a great man that people don't really understand, and I did this amazing thing, whether it's one of the Batman films, whatever, name your favorite Nolan. It's not going to be this one, and it's not going to, it could be Dunkirk, it could be whatever, but it's just, okay, so what happens after I've done the great thing? People are going to fucking turn on me and be like, oh, Tenet was shit.
Yeah,
This movie's shit.
And you were so good back in Memento was incredible, man. What are you doing here?
And it mirror the movie itself. Oppenheimer's almost a stand-in for Nolan. It kind of mirrors that whole thing where it's just, okay, you did the great thing, it happened, and now nobody gives a shit anymore, and everyone's just trying to take you down. Maybe that's reading too much into it, but that's when I look at it, I'm
really
like, okay,
I like that a lot.
it's interesting. Yeah,
did not think.
I saw him talk about the movie in general, and he was saying that he was seeing a lot of the parallels that he was trying to draw with this was all about AI tech and how AI is this
I saw that.
massive science technological advance that's going to cause a lot of problems if it's not in the right hands.
Him and Tom Cruise.
Yeah, him and Tom Cruise. I will say, let's just put this to the side that if I'm not mistaken, Nolan literally still has a flip phone and he doesn't go on social media. So people that are like that, I would like to say are just like a little out of tune with what's going on. Like they're very Dooms-like when it comes to things like this. But hey,
sure,
he's obviously very successful at what he does. And what was the other? I saw something so funny about him the other day. He was on like a show for whatever reason, and they asked him what's like that favorite movie of his that he always puts on. If it's on the TV, he like doesn't take it off, and he said Talladega Nights, and I was like, wait, what? Talladega Nights? And he goes, yeah. He's like, wait, the guy goes, you really watched that? He's, dude, if you're not first, you're last. And then everyone's like, yeah. So he's a guy's guy. So hopefully, he's obviously one of the most influential and most famous individuals in that space, so he's doing something right. So we'll see. Absolutely. And I have one other question, the Tenet side. You guys really enjoyed Tenet, or did you enjoy Tenet the second time you watched it? Because the first time I was like, what the hell did I
only watched it once.
So I really liked it, but again, it's not as good as some of his other stuff.
Yeah,
it's not as good as some of his other stuff, but I think it's like the culmination of his like, look at what I can do with an action movie. I think the only problem is, and they even say it in the movie, and some people hate this, but if you think too hard about it, it like all falls apart, right? Like,
that's what I did.
Yeah.
It's not like an Inception where you can puzzle it all together and you think you got it figured out or whatever. Tenet actually makes no sense. But if you go into it being like, this doesn't make any sense, but let's just see all the insane shit that they do. And it's like, how do you film a scene that you can play backwards and forwards and it's still like an insane action scene? That's from a movie making standpoint, that is one of the craziest things I've ever seen. The biggest knock against it is the last set piece, right? Where they go into that big epic battle.
Yep.
It's impossible to tell what the fuck is going on. I've watched it so many times.
Zero shot.
Like, what the fuck is happening here? And so that's why it gets like a solid, we'll say 7 out of 10.
Hey, listen, if you don't think about it, it makes sense, is what we got to go with right there. Put that on a t-shirt, have a little Christopher Nolan signature at the bottom. We're good.
That's it.
What was the other thing I wanted to say? Obviously, speaking on his term, I got to ask one last question. I think we already asked this last time on the last podcast, but Christian Bale, he is the worst Batman.
Oh, is he worse than, what's his name? Iceman? What's the fucking dude from Top Gun? What's his name? You know what I'm talking about. Christian Bale. Not Christian Bale. Val Kilmer.
Okay, let's just say this is my
he
other
has this
take.
thing.
Here's my hot take.
Bale.
Ben Affleck is a better Batman and Bruce Wayne than Christian Bale. Christian Bale is a better villain in all the movies you can think of. He is just a phenomenal villain, but when it comes to him trying to be the hero, it just doesn't work.
I think he's a good Bruce Wayne. I don't think he's
not Batman. A good Bruce, but
that's my take.
I don't.
He's got like the like sort of billionaire swagger-ish thing. He can do that.
But here's the thing with Batman, he had that obviously, but he also had the genuine, like he would play. Here's the thing: when Christian Bale does it that way, he's doing it because that's his personality. When Ben Affleck or others would do it, it's like they're doing it because they're trying to make a persona that's really not them. When you look at Christian Bale, maybe it's just because I've seen so many Christian Bale things where he's just the asshole and everything, that when he's an asshole as Bruce Wayne, and that's what he's supposed to be like, it's, no, that's just you being you, where all the others, the reason why Bruce Wayne acts that way, it's because he doesn't want people to understand or to know who he really is and what he's really there for. But that's just me. But I had to say something because we're on the Christian Nolan side of things.
Yeah, what do you think of Pattinson, though? What do you think of Pattinson?
I think he did a really good job.
I loved him. A young Batman, I thought it was great. who I really think would be the best young Batman, even younger than Patterson, the guy from Dune. No, not me. God, no. I can rock with the Spider-Man.
Middle school RSG?
I can be like Spider-Man.
Chalamet?
Maybe Spider-Man. Yes.
Chalamet. Interesting.
I think he would be phenomenal as a little bit of a younger Bruce Wayne. That would be sick. I personally think, but that's besides the point.
Let him be Robin.
Ooh, that too. I like that a lot too. And by the way, Crier, Dune 2, it's picking up some steam over here. So I know you're
that's like my favorite.
That's your favorite thing.
Villanueva is like my favorite director.
Yeah, anything he does, I like.
It's incredible.
Blade Runner 2049 was one of my favorite movies.
It's so good.
It's just a beautiful.
Arrival is incredible too. I fucking love that movie.
Arrival was so good.
Sicario,
wow.
you could name.
Really
yeah,
that's why he's my favorite, man.
Yeah.
And Dune is like his child. That's his movie he's only wanted to make for 40 years. It's the one he wanted to make since the beginning. Yeah. And to me, Dune has a personal thing to me because it's one of my dad's favorite books, and we read it when we were growing up together. That's got me into sci-fi. So I definitely enjoy that one a lot. I've read it a couple times. So
yeah, Villeneuve is an insane director. I will say this though. I want you to do me a favor for the next time we talk.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Watch the movie Enemy. It is a Villeneuve film, a Canadian-made film starring Jake Gyllenhaal. And then you can explain to me what the fuck is going on. That's all I got to say. Because I watch it, and then I saw the end of it, and I was like, I don't know what this movie. I don't know. I love everything else you've done. I have no idea about this movie. So.
Oh, the one where they take people hostage and stuff? That one?
No, that one's good.
No, not that one.
That's
That one's
Prisoners.
good.
Prisoners.
I'm looking at it right now, and I'm just looking at little snippets of the movie, and I have literally no idea what's going on just by the snippets. So it should be interesting to watch.
He encounters somebody, his like identical twin, or anything. That's what the movie's about. But you tell me explain it to me next time I'm on the show, because I feel like I understand movies. This one I did not understand. So
okay, it's on Hulu,
That's
right? Yeah, I'll give it a go. I'll give it a go. Let's do it.
All right.
Awesome, Mr. Gon. Love chatting all with y'all as always. Looking forward to future chats, seeing more about the parallel ecosystem expansion. Planetfall's coming out. The beta just released. I already got stuff for new puzzle pieces for everybody else to play with. Excited.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I'm happy to be back, and just anytime you guys want to talk, if you guys want to just talk shit about movies, I'm down, because
I'm so game.
That's my second favorite thing in the world.
Second favorite thing in the world,
outside of my family and video games. Although that's two things. So I guess my third favorite thing in the world is movies. I would literally go see any movie anytime in theaters. I saw Barbie, great movie. I saw Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, it was fine.
Good. Oh no, don't say that.
Well,
I want to go. I want to go see it. I haven't seen it.
It's only fine compared to Spider-Verse. Like Spider-Verse is just the second Spider-Verse is so
fucking
good. It's just so good.
My God.
Every other animated like superhero-ish film that I'm gonna see after that is just gonna be like, okay, like it's fun.
It was good.
I like that.
That's a good.
But I left Spider-Verse, and it could not have been about
tears.
superheroes or animated. It could you could strip all that stuff away, and I'm still like, this is a fucking great movie. They did such a good job.
That was phenomenal.
Soundtrack was incredible. Visuals were insane. Humor was on point for everything. Was really good.
Hot take: the next one coming out, I think everyone's honing in on the dad dying. I think they're gonna pull a fast one on us, and they're gonna kill the mom.
Oh,
and that's but the heartstrings are just gonna just the same way they did with Spider-Man with Aunt May in the third one.
Here we go. Okay,
here we go.
Here first.
Here to hear first. Hey, Marvel, if you need someone to write, since all the other writers are on strike, I'm here. I'm kidding. Don't do it. I support the writers and the actors and actresses in this. Screw Bob. I'm sorry. Screw the CEOs and other people.
That's right. Let's wrap it up. It's a good note to end on.
I'm with you. I support all the strikers. Just give them their money and let's make some good shit again.
You make a fucking insane amount of money already. Quit bitching.
300 times more than it's ridiculous. But Bob Iger came out and said that. Yeah, that too. But it should be fun. Hopefully we have some good things. We already have some movies already out there that are about to come out, as well as some shows. So we should be nerding out for the next at least year and a half until we take a little hiatus. Hopefully not that long, but we should be good. But again, for everyone at home, thank you guys so much for tuning in to another episode of NerdFT Radio. Mr. Gone, you're always welcome. Thank you so much for stopping by. Good luck with everything on the parallel side, and good luck arguing with me that Christian Bale is not a good Batman. We'll catch all of you guys.
Shout out to us for episode 150. How about that?
Ooh, this was episode
congratulations.
150.
I just looked up in the corner and saw that it's 150.
Just started. Go grab a brick, throw it at a wall. If you're an NFT founder, you should probably throw the brick multiple times because your thing's awful right now, and figure out what you're going to do. We'll talk to you guys later. Peace.
Peace.